So you're in Canada on a visitor visa, and now you just got a job offer from a Canadian employer. And you're wondering that is there a legal way to convert your visitor visa to a work permit? If this is the question you are looking an answer for, this is the right video for you. Stay tuned. Hello, so my name is Aman. I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, and on this channel, we try to bring the right immigration information to our subscribers. And in today's video, we are going to speak about the right way to convert your visitor visa to a work permit when you are inside Canada. The reason I'm making this video is that I have looked around on YouTube and on Google, and there is a lot of incorrect information out there. And as an RCIC, when I was looking at this information, there was time I got confused that is that information is even correct or not. So I decided that let's make a video and put the right information out there, so people who are in the same situation, who are inside Canada on a visitor visa and they want to convert their visitor visa to a work permit, they can get it done in the correct way. So the answer to the most important question, that is it possible to convert your visa from a visitor to a work permit? The answer is yes, you can definitely legally do it, but there are multiple things you need to consider before you go for that option. The first is finding work. So when you are inside Canada on a visitor visa, you could be here on tourism visa, you could be here on a visa to visit your family, or you could be here on a skilled trade visitor visa where you are here to write an exam for a skilled trade profession. Okay, so when you're in that situation, the first important thing is how you're going to be able to find work. There is one way wherein you can go look for work yourself. You have your resume, you have your credentials, you go on places like Indeed, you go on places like the provincial job portals, you go on jobbank.ca and you start applying for jobs there. And you clearly mention to the employer that you are inside Canada, but you do not have a work permit. So when those employers, if somebody is interested in you, they're going to do an interview with you wherein you will explain to them how you are going to be a good fit for their company. And during the interview, you're going to have to obviously explain to them that you are on a visitor visa and you are not legally allowed to work inside Canada. So in that situation, what's going to happen is that not all the employers are going to be willing to support you through the process wherein they will get an LMIA approval from the government for you to hire you as an employee, because that process is a very lengthy process and not every employer is willing to go through the pain of that process. Even though it's not a very expensive process for the employer only have to pay $1,000 to the ESDC or Service Canada for the application for LMIA, but the process takes about 2 to 3 months, and ESDC or Service Canada, they actually ask for a lot of documentation from the employer. So not everybody is going to be willing to go through that process. So when you're doing those interviews, you have to be very clear with the employer, and eventually if you find an employer who likes your skills and they are not able to find somebody else to fill that job and they are ready to go through the LMIA process for you, that is when you are going to be in a position where you will be able to easily convert your visitor visa to a work permit after getting the approved LMIA. So in that situation, what really happens is that you are not the person who's going to apply for the LMIA. The employers are going to do the LMIA application for you. Now the employers, usually what they do is they can go apply for the LMIA applications themselves, or majority of the time they're going to hire somebody like me, an RCIC, who will do the application on behalf of the employer, because we know Service Canada and ESDC have very specific requirements for LMIA application. The way it has to be marketed before they make a decision to hire, the way the job offers are going to be written out, and the duration of the job marketing is going to be included in that application. So if there is a mistake in that, the LMI application is going to be very likely declined. So we would have to do each and every step very carefully, so ESDC will give a positive approval for the LMI application. Once the LMIA application is approved, the employer is going to give you a letter which will be the approval for the LMIA and a job offer. Using that LMIA approval and the job offer, any person who is inside Canada on a visitor visa, they would have to do something called flag polling, because these work permits are issued on the border itself. So the person have to leave Canada momentarily, and when they're coming back to Canada at the border, they're going to show that, hey, I'm here on a visitor visa. I just did my flag polling, so I went out of the country. Here is my new job offer. Here is my LMIA approval. Here is my work permit application. So if the IRCC officer is going to review the application, and it's on them to decide if they want to approve the work permit application for you or not. They are going to look for certain things. The most important thing when they look for any temporary permit application or permanent residency application is your intent. So when you came to Canada, and during the first 6 months, if you are able to find a job, you go back there and say that I got a job now and I decide that I'm going to stay here for a longer period of time and do this job so I can be with my family a little bit more and maybe financially support them as well. The IRCC officer is not going to have a problem approving the application. But if your intentions are not clear to the IRCC officer, or you have misrepresented in the previous visa applications in one way or the other, things are going to go south very quickly. So when an IRCC officer is looking at your previous application, for example, your application was to come to Canada as a tourist, and while you were here as a tourist, you find a job, and now you're saying that no, I was here as a tourist, but now I want to change it to a work permit. IRCC officer is going to have a little tough time understanding that your intention initially was misrepresented. So if something like that happens, they are going to decline your application. Another thing which IRCC officer is going to look for while approving the work permit applications is that if there is any kind of misrepresentation happening in the applications. It could be the application for the work permit, or it could be the application which you initially did for a visitor visa. If the information in both of them doesn't really match up and you have lied or withheld some kind of an information, that's going to be a big problem. The important thing to note here is that when you are here on a visitor visa, the visa limit is for 6 months. And if you are not able to find a job in the first 3 or 4 months, and you are able to find a job in the 5th or the 6th month when you are here, the LMIA approval applications usually take 2 to 3 months as well. So it could very likely happen that by the time your LMIA application is with Service Canada for an approval, your visitor visa is going to be expired. The only way to stay longer is that if you apply for an extension on a visitor visa, and that is the very tricky time. If you do an extension of a visitor visa and do not disclose that you have a LMI application which you are waiting for an approval, and later on you go apply for a work permit based on that LMI application, it's going to be counted as misrepresentation. And actually there was a case in Canadian immigration history. I'm going to leave the link for the case down below in the description section. You can go read that case yourself. What happened was there was a gentleman from India. He came here on a visitor visa to be with their family, and in the 5th month when he was there, he got a job offer and applied for an LMIA. And while he did the application, he applied for an extension for visa, saying that hey, I want to stay with my family for a longer period of time, and did not disclose to IRCC that he has an LMIA application ongoing. So his extension was approved, and later on when he went to IRCC to apply for a work permit, the officer was looking at the application. He looked for the visa extension application as well, and he said, hey, you did not mention that you are waiting for an LMI application, so that's considered misrepresentation. So they canceled their work permit application, canceled his visa, and gave him a removal order. And after the person received the removal order, he went to the court, the Canadian courts, with a judicial review. And even the judge, when he received that information, and he started reading the case, and he also took the side of the immigration officer, saying that this person misrepresented. He withheld the information which was important to the case. So he stood by the IRCC officer's decision, and that person had to go leave the country with the misrepresentation on his file, barred for applying for immigration for a very long period of time. So it's important you understand that if you're in Canada and you want to apply for a work permit, first how you're going to get that job. One scenario we spoke that where you will go find a job for yourself and find an employer who's willing to help you with the LMI application. So if you're not able to find a job yourself, the second option is you can actually go find an immigration consultant who work with the employers in certain situations to apply for these LMIAs. And many times these immigration consultants would have employers who are looking for a person like you. In that situation, it probably would cost you more, because the the consultant is actually doing all the work for you to find a job, get you an interview, apply for an LMIA, apply for a work permit. But this eventually will work in your favor as well. But be very mindful that not every immigration consultant is working with your best interest in their heart. There are many of them who are just working in industry for money. So look around, speak to people, find out what is a nominal price to be paid for an arrangement like this. And if you feel that the person you're working with is asking 3 or 4 times the nominal price, then definitely don't go with that, because I don't believe that it's worth it to spend that kind of money on a job offer where you can make some few phone calls to the right people and get the job offer at the right price. One last very important thing I want to tell you is that in an event that you are here on a visitor visa, which is valid for only 6 months, and when you are on the 4th, 5th or 3rd month of your stay and you find a job offer and an employer is willing to apply for an LMIA for you, they do an application for you, and your visa is about to expire and you have no way to extend your visa, you do not have any family here, you do not have any real purpose to be here beyond those 6 months, I highly suggest that you should go back to your home country while the LMIA application is underway, and after the LMIA application is approved, you should take that and apply for a work permit from outside Canada. You would have much higher chances of approval of a work permit when you are outside Canada after your visa limit is over. Then you are in Canada, and if you overstayed your visa, that will cancel out all your applications and you are going to be in a big trouble. So keep that in mind. If you are inside Canada and you want to apply for a work permit, you need to be within your visa limit time of 6 months. If your visa limit is getting over, either apply for an extension, and if you're not able to apply for an extension, please leave the country within the time frame of your visa, so that you are not going to be causing any misrepresentation or the breach of IRCC laws. Having said that, I hope this is the right information you were looking for regarding conversion of your visitor visa to a work permit. If you still have any more questions, or if you're still unclear about anything, please reach out to us. Our information is in the description section down below. We'll be more than happy to help you out. And if you think that this is information which is going to help other people save from scams, immigration scams, and save them money, please forward it to your friends and family, and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, because every week we'll try to get some good information like this to you. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, please.